Radiography is one of the oldest art examination methods. It is usually performed in a laboratory. The piece is placed on the table with an X-ray machine underneath it. Most museums use a special film to rule out the possibility of forging. Large objects are X-rayed piece by piece. After the film is developed and fixed, it is scanned in high resolution. Then the digital copies are put together to create an image of the entire artwork. Such examination of the ancient Egyptian burial shroud was performed at the Pushkin State Museum of Fine Arts' Radiography Laboratory. Radiography is usually used to reveal the actual state of the piece. It also allows to make preliminary conclusions about the materials it was made of. Using this method, we can trace the stages of its creation and see the changes either made by the artist or those which appeared during the lifespan of the piece. Threads of different gauges, as well as knots and imperfections, are typical for handmade canvases. Such canvases were stretched on underframes and impregnated with a weak solution of glue instead of using an undercoat. The losses of the paint layer can be clearly seen on the radiogram. They are traumatic in their origin and were caused by twisting and creasing of the shroud. However, we can conclude that it has been previously restored. The shroud carries some traces of duplicating adhesive, strengthening compound, and organic pigments. At the time of the reign of Emperors Trajan and Hadrian, 120 to 130 AD, in Egypt, burial shrouds as well as other ritual objects were mass-produced. Such shrouds were used along with the Fayum portraits and burial masks. Mummies were wrapped in shrouds with the deceased depicted on them before being placed in their sarcophagi. There were blank spaces left for the faces. The portraits, likely painted while the people were still alive, would be later on glued onto the images. The radiogram shows that the fabric of the piece with the woman's face is more dense than that of the rest of the shroud. Besides, we can see that the image of the child was added later. The latter is one of the most interesting features of this piece. There are several types of representation found on burial shrouds. In all of them, the deceased are depicted either as mummies or dressed in Roman clothing, standing alone or accompanied by Anubis and Osiris, the two main gods of the Egyptian pantheon. The shroud from the collection of the Pushkin State Museum of Fine Arts is the only one known where there are two people instead of one. We can only guess that the mother and her child died at the same time, perhaps as the result of disease, but so far these are only speculations. Radiography has helped us evaluate the condition of the shroud in the most accurate way, uncovering numerous damages and losses of the paint layer. Now the restorers have to prevent further destruction of the piece.